Hello, everybody. Every few months or so, I like to upload a video talking about the price to entry for Digimon, the price barrier. How does it do even in comparison to other card games? I did one 3 months ago last, and I told you guys it was only going to get worse. And it has, which is unsurprising to me, but something we need to discuss and have a serious conversation about, because one of the hallmarks that Digimon has always had is that the game has a very low barrier to entry. Does it still keep up? We'll find out in today's video. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think, Digimon is still pretty good from a budget standpoint? Lowest rarity only, of course. Or do you think it's getting out of hand? Do let me know in the comments. And like and subscribe. A lot of you aren't subscribed. So please subscribe. That would be really cool. And I like talking in front of the camera. Obviously, I wouldn't do it. So you should definitely subscribe because of that. So a lot of people talk to me about MedievalGallantmon because, MedievalGallantmon is that new big bad. That card that most players will consider wanting in their decks because it's just a good card. It's just good. It's a good card. It's not a broken card. It's not an unfair card. It's just a good card where if you play it right, it will give you an advantage. And if your opponent is sleeping, this card can really do a good job. Now, if your opponent is awake and always plays around the MedievalGallantmon like you should be in this format, then it doesn't really matter. But regardless of all that, the price on the card is bananas. If you got in when it was cheap on release day, like more than half this price, then you did fine. But to everyone else who's just joined the Digimon trading card game, because we get new players every day, they see this and they say, what the hell is this? I thought this game was supposed to be cheap. And this matters, right? Because a lot of people kind of want to play this card right now because it's good. So, if you play one copy, you got to add $83 to the value of your deck, or $84. If you want to play two, got to add $168. I play Galaxy deck that plays 3 of this and 3 Hexablaus. You know how expensive my Galaxy deck is? It's crazy. But that's where we are, and that's the main reason why this video is existing now. So besides Medieval Gallant, you do have outliers that are still cheap, right? Purple Hybrid is still a cheap deck. You can do a Purple Hybrid deck for still under $100, lowest rarity. You can still do that. Now, if you want to be cheeky like the Ultimate Cup Champion from the weekend and play that secret rare BT13 Gallantmon, then yeah, the value of your deck bumps up a little bit. But that's not really a big deal, right? Unless you're playing something crazy like, Ruin Mode, or you want to throw in a Medieval Gallantmon. Well, then the value of your deck just doubled. It actually, doubled, which is kind of the way it is, which is why we're talking about this. But, if you can say no to Medieval Gallantmon, then you have a barrier to entry Duskmon that's not so bad. You have a barrier to entry Lugamon, which isn't bad. You want 3 of this at $51 then, and you might want 4 of this. We'll call it at $32 then. And then 4 super rare Lugamons for BT14 and the other cards. Yeah, you're still looking at maybe under $150 for the Lugamon deck. But, not as bad as 2 Medieval Gallantmons, right? Kind of crazy. Now, Hexablau is a card that has gone up since the last time I made this video. If you actually want a reference of sorts, I'll tell you right now because I was looking it up. Where's my video? Hello? Hello? Where's Hexablau in this video? I don't know where Hexablau is in this video. I'm having a moment. Having a moment. Damn, I don't know where Hexablau is right now. Anyway, Hexablau at the time recording the last video was $19. It's actually doubled. It's actually doubled in price since then. So all of a sudden, if you want to play like Mirage Galgamon, let's say, your Mirage Galgamon deck can either be really cheap, like $60 cheap, which is nice, or you can play a Hexablau or 2 and bump up the value, or be the crazy lad and throw in that Medieval Gallantmon in your Mirage deck, which I've tried. I'm guilty. It's not too bad, right? So, the value is what you make it, right? Gallantmon itself, the deck. You want Crimson Mode Aces, maybe 2 of them. Okay, that's $40. But then, according to our she had a Nationals champion, you need 4 of this card. And even if you budget and you go 3, that's still expensive. That's still 120. Plus these, 2 of these, you're looking at 160. We're not talking about the rest of the deck on top of that, which is going to cost you over $200. And then if you want to be a mad lad and played Medieval Gallantmon in your Gallantmon deck, $300 for deck. For not even tier 1 deck. Pretty crazy. Paladin Mode Ace, if you want to play this staple, $15 each, you know what I mean? It adds up. If you want to play Demon Lords, it's a little bit better now. $75 for 3 of these, but you probably want 4, so it's $100 right there. 2 Agudamons, another $12 each, so you're looking at $124. And then, of course, there is Leviamon, which you want to add to this as well, because you might play like 2-3 Leviamons, so another $13 each. So looking at $150 plus the cheap stuff, maybe you're looking at $180 to $200 to play the deck. And that's assuming you're not, again, throwing in Medieval Gallantmon or something, right? So it is kind of what you make it. And there are just expensive decks, right? Like, if you're playing 3 Great Angels Yellow Vaccine, you're going to have a hard time. You are going to have a rough time with this because you need 3 of this. And you need a few copies of this. Not to mention that Talmon Loop is coming, and you need some copies of this too, right? Not to mention everything else you need for the deck, like the Kazuhas and all that. Like, you're looking at decks, and then wherever Talmon Ace lands at, you're looking at decks that are $200 to $300 to $400, right? Maybe you're playing Magna X Yellow Vaccine. That's still expensive, especially if you play Ruin Mode, right? Imperial, still kind of budget with the exception of Paildramon. But if you want to throw in the Medieval Gallant or Hexablaus, your budget increases. So you know what I mean? You do definitely still have some cheap decks. You do. You really do, thank God. But the number of cheap decks are starting to dissipate. And to top that off, if you want to play Medieval Gallantmon or something, your deck is no longer cheap. Unless you don't care. If you're someone like me that says, yeah, I can just buy 4 of this, no problem. Money's no object, pretty cheap for me. Then this is not for you. But this is going to the average consumer, right? That's who we're talking about in this video. Not to mention that Digimon still has a promo problem. $69.99 is not nice for a promo that maybe you want 4 copies of, which costs you $280. Then 4 copies of this, which costs you $160. And if you want to play Medieval Gallantmons, Armor Rush is a crazy expensive tier 2 deck. What about Red Purple Imperial? Like, hello? Hello? And hello. It's just it's crazy, right? It just sucks. It really, really sucks. Now, we must be fair and must compare to the other card games in its area, right? Yu-Gi-Oh! This is the example actually I used last time on the video. Molcharmi Fawalos here, cheapest near mint, $85. It's the same as Chaos Gallantmon. This went down over time. This was $150 3 months ago. Let me find you the proof. I have the proof somewhere. Let me find you the proof. Yeah. Oh my God. Ads on my own videos. How dare. Sorry, I lied to you. It wasn't 150. It looks like it was 125. I'll wait for this ad to disappear. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here's Mario. Here's old Mario. It was 125. It was 125. Now it's 100. It's gone down over time. Now, depending on how crazy you want to go, you might want 3 of this one too, which is, $50. You might want 3 of this one too, which is $40 each. Could really add up. And then the Primite cards. If you're playing the Blue Eyes starter deck that just came out, the deck with like the Blue Eyes White Dragons in it, all this stuff. Well, if you want to play Primites, luckily the Lordly Load reprint was called. Otherwise, it was going to get very expensive. But you need these expensive Primite cards. $55 for near mint, cheapest, And $40 basically near mint for cheapest. You want multiple copies of them. But that's not even a tier 1 deck, right? And you still might want to play the mulch armies. So yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is still more expensive. It is. And Pokemon is still cheaper. This is the newest set that has come out, right? Uh, and yeah, rotation's happening soon. That does matter. For sure. But like, if you look at the value of this set, this is like a big rarity set anyway. This is probably not the best example to show you for anything. But like, yeah, these are okay. We need normal set. Give me a normal set. Give me this one. All right, normal set. Look at the values of your low rarity cards in this deck. Even some of your high rarity cards are really, really freaking cheap all of a sudden. But like page 3, you gotta start looking for the low rarity stuff. And it's so just garbage cheap to play the game right now. Like, Pokemon is cheaper than Digimon. Your cheapest Pokemon deck will be cheaper than your cheapest Digimon deck. That matters. And I know someone is gonna say something like, "Oh, you can't compare Pokemon and Digimon because it's been around for 30 years." I don't want to hear it. I also want to hear the collector's market is fucked. No, this is not a video for collectors. This is a video for competitive players. Yeah, we know Pokemon has a sealed product problem. We know. But it's not affecting the competitive experience. I want to spend singles on my deck and go to locals and play card games. Not affecting those. And then we have Magic the Gathering. I picked the top 3 aggro standard decks. I picked the top 3 decks that have the most standard representation. So the best 3 decks. I picked an example from each. 267 to build this Gruul aggro deck, 339 for your Dimir aggro deck, and you have 228 to do Esper Pixies, right? Digimon decks, except for the few outliers, are costing this much to play, sometimes more. You know, there was a time a couple years ago when you never heard of a standard deck that was cheaper than some Digimon decks. It didn't exist. Unless you're playing like Mono Red or whatever. But competitive, real, standard Magic decks were always more expensive. And now they're not. The tides are turning a little bit. Yeah, Modern's more expensive. Legacy is more expensive. Vintage is more expensive. Commander is more expensive. Yeah, we know. Pioneer is more expensive. We're all aware of that. But we actually have a Magic format now that can be cheaper than Digimon, which is wild. So, again, Digimon, in my opinion, is still doing fine. But even 3 months ago when I uploaded this video last time, I told you guys the bar was going to increase. And it has increased over the last 3 months. And if Bandai doesn't fix their ways, you know, and have problems like this in terms of price and like promo issues with single cards like this that you want to play your decks, I didn't even cover everything. Didn't cover Protoform on this video. Didn't cover a lot of stuff on this video. But the point of the story here is that the barrier to entry, while still fine, if you can restrain yourself, is still not great. It's only getting worse. And do you really want to restrain your budget? Like, I feel bad for the people that really want to play MedievalGallantmon but can't afford it now. I do. My heart bleeds somewhat for those people because they just want to play with their Digimon cards and they're getting price gapped out. And it sucks. Like, you know, there are people that are quitting the game because they're seeing the lack of price difference between this game and other games. I didn't even cover Lorcana. Lorcana's cheaper than this. Lorcana is cheaper than this game. Lowest rarity for the most part. And that's like Digimon's edge of being the cheapest game around is quickly starting to fumble. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. We'll cover this again in another few months, see where we are. But do let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you later. Bye!